The decisions we take on a daily basis are not black and white. There are a lot of uncontrollable factors.
Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms. Super excited here in Cyprus, interviewing Mike Antoniades. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight. And thank you for the invitation.
Now, obviously, you're the chairman at KPMG in Cyprus, which is very, very impressive. Tell me a little bit about your role, but before that, how you evolved into that position.
Thank you. I was born here in Nicosia, and I was brought up during the years after 1974. During that period, there was a lot of poverty in Cyprus. And the income of my family was just about enough to meet the needs of the family, but there was not much left to meet any of our wants. That did have an impact on my character building. It made me set a long-term vision to follow a career that will enable me to offer better quality life to my family. It made me stronger, and it gave me energy and enthusiasm. So the next question what should I study? My passion since my younger age have been airplanes and flying. So after watching the Top Gun film in the 80s, I've made up my mind that I want to become a commercial pilot. So I engaged the discussion with my father. I told him what I wanted to do. And then he said, what do you want to achieve in your life? I told him, I want a career that will offer better quality life to my family. Then he said, you should become a chartered accountant. I said, what is this? He said, you should be able to read, understand the accounts of companies, and be able to give feedback and write reports. I puzzled.
How old are you, can I ask, at the time?
I was at 12, 13 years old,
What was your father? What was the career did your father, what was your career did your father do?
He was working for a local bank here.
So he was in the finance section.
He was in the finance section, and he knew exactly the importance and the value of being a qualified accountant.
You know, I share this story. I asked one of my ex-bosses when I was been running my business now for 20 years, but before that, and a mentor, said, what's the most important thing about running a business? If you were to give me one thing, and he said to me, understand the balance sheet, Chris.
Yeah.
So that was the one piece of advice. So when you said that, Jason Paris's words just came into me as a 20-year-old asking the question, how do you run such a big business? What's the most important thing? That was the response he gave.
Yeah, well, he's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I'm going to come to the value of the profession very shortly. So I puzzled and I said, you know, I'm a person who loves flying in airplanes. I'm a sports person. I like maths and sciences, and you're telling me to pick up a pen and tick the boxes of accounts. I'm not doing that. So to cut a very long story short, after a lot of back and forth and discussions with my father, I was convinced reluctantly to follow his advice. So I finished school. I went to the UK, studied economics and accounting. I did a joint honours degree. And then I was recruited by KPMG in the UK in Leeds office, which was their third largest office at the time. And I started my ACA training. First weeks were dead boring. I was doing photocopying, casting, calling over, checking typos, coffees for the rest of the team. So again, I called my father. I said, listen, this thing is not working for me. He said, this is how training starts. It starts from the basics, but it's block building, and you will only understand the value of the profession as you progress with your
Very
career.
good advice.
Yeah. So be patient. I said, you have to listen to me. I'm taking my first set of exams very shortly. If I fail those, I'm moving out.
I'm out. Yeah.
So he said, okay, we have an agreement that you can do that, but
You need to try.
Yeah, you have to.
I knew I was going to hear you with that. You still need to do well. I knew that there.
And I agreed to what he said, kept my promise, passed all my exams first.
What was the results? You killed it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You seem like a man of your word, so I felt what your dad was going to say and I knew the outcome.
Yeah. I was qualified 3 years later, and at that point of time, I was missing the sun and Mediterranean food, so I requested a transfer to KPMG in Nicosia. And it was actually that point of time that I started to realize the value of the profession. When I came here, I was assigned the responsibility for the audits, initially of smaller and later bigger companies. Accounting is a financial mirror of the operations of a company. So to be able to effectively audit a company, the first thing you need to do is to know the industry that the company is operating. So slowly, I started to accumulate in-depth knowledge about various industries, which I found it fascinating. Then I was simultaneously gaining in-depth knowledge of accounting standards and auditing standards. And I was using all this knowledge to derive suggestions and recommendations that I was passing back to my clients, helping them to improve on certain areas and fix other areas, which was very self-fulfilling. I also started to realize the value of our reports, not only for shareholders, but also for other users like regulators, tax authorities, banks, creditors. So all this gave me motivation, enthusiasm. I started working very hard, and I was seeking quality, and I was trying to be as effective and as cost efficient as possible. This was the recipe to put me into partnership at KPMG in 1998. And I continued my journey by adding the targeting of sound leadership that includes a rational way of taking decisions. The decisions.
When you say rational, a balanced view, like a Ray Dalio approach, or what exactly when you say balanced, a logical and unemotional view when you're looking at things? What do you mean by that?
I will come to that. The decisions we take on a daily basis are not black and white. And sometimes the outcome of our decisions may not be the intended ones because there are a lot of uncontrollable factors that we can do nothing about those. There are controllable and non-controllable factors. Therefore, in my view, the most effective way to address this challenge is by taking decisions on the basis of predetermined principles. So when I have to take a decision, I demand a thorough analysis of all data, of all possible scenarios, of all possible outcomes. After I digest all this, I take a step back and I take my decision on the basis of ethical values. So integrity, fairness, responsibility, and accountability. This recipe was what convinced my partners in 2019 to vote for me for the position of chairman, a position that I maintain as of today. So this is it, but I can also say a few things about my passion, if you want.
Yes, of course.
Because my career not only enabled me to meet my target, to offer a better quality life to my family, but it gave me the financial means to pursue my passion as a hobby, which is even better than doing it as a job. So I do have a pilot's license and do fly airplanes. So going back to my school years, I say that the old man was right.
You know what? Usually our parents are, they're a lot wiser, but it takes a lot of emotional intelligence and awareness to know that certain things are hobbies. People bang their head against their wall for many, many years. And I read one of your biggest inspiration in your life is your father. Yes. And I'm starting to understand why. And I think being Cypriot, being proud Cypriots, having that knowledge, having that wisdom and making your parents proud is very, very important. Remember, my father built a supermarket when I was 13. And I remember some of the long hours I used to work there just to make my dad proud. I'm working 12 or 15 hours. I'd pack the supermarket sometimes by myself. And what my father and mother showed me always was what hard work looked like. So when I went on and started my career and started my business, I didn't They didn't tell me about hard work. They showed me, which is a much more powerful example. Every day they showed me getting up and working. And I always love hearing great stories. Now, the two things that you're most proud of as well, you also mentioned
The two things I'm most proud is my two daughters, my family, and since you have mentioned that, I will tell you also that the biggest mistake I have done in my career is that I haven't devoted the appropriate time to my family when my two children were young. And I didn't keep a proper balance. I was away on many occasions, many holidays, many anniversaries, and the hard work in relation to the growing up of my two daughters, I owe it to my beloved wife.
It's beautiful that you say that. I feel I've got a 22-year-old son and I've got three daughters, 12, 9, and 6. 12, 9, and 8, sorry. And when my son was growing up, I barely saw him. I was working that much. And it was very, very hard. And I was a lot younger as well. I was 24 when I had my son. When I got a bit older and I started scaling back from 80, 100 hours a week to now, I really understand and feel. You said, how old are your daughters?
My older daughter, she's 24. Now she finished studying and she works in London. My younger daughter is 17 and a half.
Beautiful. So 7.5 years. Yeah, I've got 22 all the way down to 8. So tell me some of the biggest lessons that you've had in your career. Obviously working at KPMG, you've seen a lot. You've worked with a lot of businesses. Tell me some of the lessons, and also what are some good tips for companies out there? What do you think is super important for them to be looking for?
Well, in my view, you need to always be applying the principles of 3 C's. Never criticize, condemn, or complain. Because I found myself in embarrassing situations in my early stages of career when I was making statements that later I found was a mistake. Now, in terms of businesses, in my view, it's always a straightforward approach they should be taking irrespective of challenges. You must have a vision. Where do you want to get 10, 15 years time from now? Then you must have a strategy to get there, and then you must follow sound leadership.
What's sound leadership to you?
Sound leadership is it includes the rational method of taking decisions, which I have mentioned, plus communication. I have an open communication with my partners and staff, and I listen, and then leading by example. So I implement the decisions that we take first, and then I expect the rest to follow.
Because you don't do as I say, do as you watch what I do, because that's the most powerful example of leadership.
Yeah.
Okay, now, as it comes to custom always, Michael, my quick 5 questions. Are you ready, sir?
Go.
I could talk about business, balance sheets all day with you, and it's been very, very, very nice. I enjoyed it. Thank you. Are you an early riser or a night owl?
I'm an early riser.
Favorite country you visited?
Greece.
Now, I wanted to ask you this before, so I'm lucky it came up. You mentioned you love sports.
Yes.
What's your favorite sports?
I'm a runner. I run 10 kilometers on a daily basis, 5 times a week. And I also swim. One of the things that it's present in Cyprus is the weather, so you can do a lot of outdoor activities here.
That's really good. What's one of your most important daily rituals that you do every day that's important to you?
Firstly, I try to keep my mind in harmony and my body in balance. So I do the first through my religion. I'm a Christian Orthodox, and I pray. And the second one through exercise.
I read that, and I'm a Christian Orthodox too, and I think that's very important. I think when faith is a very important part of you, it spreads across every area of your life, from business to family and everything.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best thing we can teach our kids.
Absolutely.
What's one thing on your bucket list that you want to do?
I'm quite happy with what I have. I don't think I need anything else from
Is there
life.
place you want to go, or something that you want to do?
I want to come to Australia. I've been to many places around the world till now, but not Australia, and I heard so many nice things.
You're the second one of my guests today to say that. I'm going to say the same thing to you. You have to guarantee me that if you come to Melbourne, I take you out for a lunch or a dinner
Excellent.
with your family. Is that a deal?
It is a deal.
Excellent.
And I will be coming to. I do have it in my plan to visit, and I will let you know definitely.
100%. I'd love to show you around. How do you push yourself outside of your comfort zone?
Discipline and self-discipline. And that's one of the things that I was taught during my military service.
How long did you do in the army for?
26 months.
Your full service. What's one leadership trait that you think every successful leader must have?
Leading by example and be responsible and accountable. So, when we take decisions and we do make mistakes, we have to take a step back and correct them.
You've mentioned that word a few times, and for me, I agree. Accountability is everything, responsibility. I feel if you're doing that, I don't see people growing. If they can reflect upon their decisions, and particularly their bad ones, I think that always shows good leadership. And for the most important question, Michael, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you enjoyed being on our podcast?
11, Chris, thank you for coming to Cyprus. It's been a great pleasure.
Mate, I'm honored to be here. Remember, if you want to see more Relentless, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.